Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a beautiful princess named Snow White. She had skin as white as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as ebony. But though she was beautiful, her kindness was what made her truly special. Snow White's mother, the queen, had passed away when she was very young. Her father, the king, remarried a woman who was beautiful but very vain and cruel. This new queen had a magic mirror, and every day she asked it, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror always replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." The queen was pleased, but as Snow White grew older, she became more and more beautiful. One day when the queen asked her mirror, it answered, "You, my queen, are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White is fairer than you." The queen's heart filled with jealousy. She could not stand that someone was more beautiful than her. The evil queen ordered a huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and get rid of her. But the kind huntsman could not harm the innocent princess. "Run, princess," he whispered. "Run far away and never return." Snow White ran and ran, tears streaming down her face until she was deep inside the dark forest. She was scared, but soon she saw a little cottage hidden among the trees. She knocked softly, but no one answered. Peeking inside, she saw a tiny table with 7 little chairs and 7 small beds lined up in a row. "Oh, what a cute little house," she said. She was so tired that she lay down and fell asleep. In the evening, the owners of the cottage returned home. They were 7 dwarfs who worked in the mines, digging for gold and jewels. "Who is sleeping in my bed?" one dwarf asked. Snow White woke up with a start and saw the 7 friendly faces staring at her. She told them her story, and the dwarfs felt sorry for her. "You may stay with us, Snow White," said the eldest dwarf, "but you must be careful. The queen will try to harm you." Snow White promised to be careful and lived happily with the dwarfs. She cooked, cleaned, and sang cheerful songs while the dwarfs worked in the mines. Back at the castle, the queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" The mirror replied, "You, my queen, are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White deep in the woods is still fairer than you." The queen was furious. Snow White was alive. She disguised herself as an old woman and set out to trick Snow White. First, she offered Snow White a beautiful silk ribbon, but when she tied it around her waist, it was so tight that Snow White fainted. Luckily, the dwarfs returned just in time and saved her. Next, the queen came back with a poison comb. When she placed it in Snow White's hair, she collapsed again. But the dwarfs removed the comb, and Snow White woke up. Finally, the queen baked a poisoned apple. She disguised herself once more and knocked on the cottage door. "Would you like a delicious apple, my dear?" she asked sweetly. Snow White saw the juicy red apple and took a bite. Thud! She fell to the ground, as still as stone. When the dwarfs returned, they were heartbroken. No matter what they tried, Snow White did not wake up. The dwarfs placed Snow White in a glass coffin in the forest, surrounded by beautiful flowers. Animals of the forest gathered, mourning their kind princess. One day, a handsome prince was riding through the woods when he saw the glass coffin. He had heard stories of Snow White's beauty and kindness and was filled with sorrow. He leaned down and gently kissed her forehead. Suddenly, Snow White opened her eyes. The poisoned apple had fallen from her lips, and she was alive again. The dwarfs and the prince cheered with joy. The prince asked, "Snow White, will you come to my kingdom and be my princess?" Snow White smiled and nodded. She thanked the dwarfs for their kindness and promised to visit them often. And so, Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after, while the evil queen was never seen again.